Hi, my name is Alejandro and I'm from Nicaragua. And I want to tell you about how target test prep helped me get a score 700 on the GMAT. So when it comes to paying for prep courses, I'm not the kind of guy that usually pays for them. But when it comes to a GMAT, I knew I needed to pay for a prep course. When I first started studying for a GMAT, I had a copy of the official guide, and the only thing I did was work through the problems, and I didn't reinforce any content or any theory or anything. So I was pretty much just working on the problems mindlessly without actually studying for the test. This approach was the worst approach ever. So I decided to look for a prep course. I went on to GMAT Club and started looking for prep courses that met my criteria. My main criteria was it needed to be practical and it needed to be affordable. So I found this prep course and I decided to give it a try. I liked it, so I subscribed to it. The thing is that the prep course wasn't really that strong. So I went through the course like 2 times and I still couldn't break the 600-point barrier. So after several tries of this prep course and not breaking the 600-point barrier, I only broke it once. I knew I needed a new approach. So I decided to set aside the GMAT for a while and just focus on my job and my hobbies for a while and then continue with my study for the GMAT. So when I resumed my study for the GMAT, I knew I needed another prep course. So a friend of mine who was studying for a GMAT as well recommended me target test prep. At that time, I knew I had seen target test prep on GMAT Club, on YouTube, or other platforms, but actually I never really took a look at it. So I went on to target test prep and paid for the 5-day trial, and I was amused. Honestly, it was great. So I decided to give it a go. At first, I remember I studied with target test prep for around 2 months or so. And what amazed me the most was it was a really comprehensive course because you were studying the foundational concepts of GMAT Quant and GMAT Verbal. Another thing that amazed me was the fact that maybe at the first week or the second week, I was able to solve problems that I couldn't solve in my first attempt. So that was great. I decided to stop my GMAT studies for a while to focus on other personal projects, and then I resumed my studies like many months later. When I resumed my studies, I remember I had completed around 30% of the course, if I'm not mistaken. And the first chapters of the target test prep are really extensive because you're actually studying for the most foundational part of GMAT Quant. So if you're stuck in this first chapters, don't worry about it. It's really normal to spend a little more time on them. I kept on with the course, and the thing is that I was planning to apply on round 3 of last year, and I needed to do GMAT on March. So I resumed my studies in January, and unfortunately, I couldn't complete the course, but I still took the real test, and I bumped the test, to say the least. So after bumping the test, I decided not to apply in round 3. I had a really low GMAT score, and if I apply, I wouldn't get any positive results from the applications. So I took a break, and then I decided to resume my studies on June. So I studied for around 4 months, if I'm not mistaken, and took the GMAT in November, and I scored 700. During my prep, target test prep was a really big help. It is a really comprehensive course, so if you subscribe to it, you will notice that there's a lot of content. Don't be discouraged. It's part of the process. You will see any kind of topics from the ranges quant to verbal, even AWA. So don't get scared if you see a lot of content. It's part of the process. My main recommendations to taking full advantage of target test prep is first, focus. Like if you're gonna study for a GMAT, you gotta focus on the GMAT. You gotta make it a priority. And second, you gotta be consistent. Consistency probably is the most important part of GMAT prep. In my first attempts, I wasn't really consistent, and that really affected my first results. So when I decided to be more consistent with my studies, I actually got a good result. So try to be consistent. My other advice is that GMAT prep is usually a really stressful process for many people. because you gotta make a lot of sacrifices. You gotta dedicate a lot of time, a lot of attention to your GMAT studies. You gotta prioritize GMAT prep over many things, and it usually becomes a really stressful process. And during your GMAT journey, you're gonna encounter like a lot of ups and downs, but don't get discouraged by it. It's part of the process. So I promise you, whenever you find an obstacle during GMAT prep, I promise you, you're gonna overcome it. I encourage you to try Target Test Prep. It is easily the best platform, the best prep course there is for GMAT prep. It was really, in my case, it was really helpful as it was in the cases of other people. And you can take your score somewhere. If you have a score of around the mid 500s, it can take you up to 700 plus easily. I promise you. And it's pretty much the best prep course there is. So I encourage you to take a look at GMAT Target Test Prep, and I wish you the best for your GMAT prep.